Now that I have had my Harvest Right freeze dryer for 3 months, I am ready to share with you 10 things that I wish I knew before I bought it. I will preface this with the fact that there's probably more than 10 things, but these were just 10 things that I thought of that would have been very helpful to know before purchasing my freeze dryer, and hopefully can help you decide if it's something that you would want to have in your home. The first thing that I wish I knew before buying a freeze dryer is kind of obvious. What foods can you actually freeze dry? Let me tell you, the quick and simple answer is almost anything. Your freeze dryer comes with a beginner's guide to freeze drying. And the only thing it really specifies that does not freeze dry well are super high fatty foods and honey. They say do not try to freeze dry honey. And things like butter and peanut butter do not do well in the freeze dryer. Also, chocolate does not freeze dry. And I think that's about it though. There are a plethora of foods that you can freeze dry. Meat, raw meat, cooked meat, vegetables, fruits, tons of candy that you've seen me do here on this channel. That's definitely a family favorite. I also have loved doing eggs. I have not done that on this channel yet, so that will be in a future video. And actually, why don't I bring you to my food storage shelf to just show you some of the things that I have there. First, I do have a plethora of candy. This needs to be reorganized, but candy is definitely a hit around here. This is where I store my candy. This here is my shelf of my freeze-dried food storage. I have ground beef here. Back here is kale. These are my eggs. Got broccoli, brisket, bananas, cooked chicken, raspberries, pineapple, broccoli, cooked chicken, strawberries, Skittles, because, you know, we might need that in an emergency, bananas, and yeah, that's all of it. Okay, please don't follow me. I'll go back and reorganize this later. But hopefully that helps. You can freeze dry just about anything. And so that's one huge perk of the freeze dryer, is that the options truly are endless. You can freeze dry full meals. I haven't done that yet, but plan to do that soon. The second thing that is a common question I get is how long things take to actually freeze dry. Freeze drying is a long process. That is something you have to keep in mind. Candy is fast. The newer models of the machine have candy mode, which allows you to freeze dry candy in 2 to 4, 5 hours. Candy mode totally skips the freezing process and just does the heat and the vacuum pump, which is what causes the crystals in it to expand, and they turn the candy nice, puffy, crunchy, delicious. This is a freeze-dried Jolly Rancher. So that is super fun. You can do candy really fast. Other foods, when you're doing a full freeze-drying process, can take much longer. It's usually 15, 20, 24 hours. I've had some things that take up close to 30 hours. It all just depends on the moisture content of the food that you are freeze-drying and how much you have in there, that kind of stuff. So it is just good to know that freeze-drying is a lengthy process. Unless you're only doing candy, it's not so bad. But the benefits of freeze-drying to me is definitely worth the lengthy, long process. So the third thing that I want to talk about that you'll want to know before buying a freeze dryer are the accessories that you're going to need for using your freeze dryer and for storing the food. When you buy your freeze dryer from Harvest Right, it actually does come with everything you need to get started freeze drying, which was awesome. I did not know what was coming with my machine when I bought it, so it was awesome to see that it had so many accessories. In addition to the trays that go inside of the freeze dryer, it comes with your freeze dryer food storage bags. These are Mylar bags. It comes with, I think, 50 oxygen absorbers, which you put inside of the bag. It comes with a heat sealer. You can see it there. That's how you heat seal the bags closed. It also comes with oil for your oil pump, if that's the type of pump that you have, and an oil filter so that you don't have to buy new oil. You can just filter the oil that you have and re-put it in your machine. What else did it come with? I think that's it. There are also a few things that I have bought on my own to go with my freeze dryer. I like to use mason jars to store some of the freeze-dried food. You saw some of those on my food storage shelves. Storing in jars is not super long-term food storage. I store them in jars when I know I'm gonna use them fairly soon. You get your longest shelf life when you use the Mylar bag and oxygen absorber and heat seal it. So just keep that in mind. You can also put oxygen absorbers in the vacuum sealed mason jars, and that extends your shelf life also. The other two things I have bought for my freeze dryer are silicone mat trays that I purchased off of Amazon and little tray stackers that I also got from Amazon so that you can fill your trays, stack them up so that they're not touching each other, and you can pre-freeze your foods. Certain foods you want to pre-freeze before you put into the freeze dryer if you want your freeze dryer to not have to run as long. So I did get those. I'll do a future video on my Amazon purchases that I have gotten for the freeze dryer and do kind of I'll show you the use of them and if I think that they're good quality or not. Some are better than others, but those are the accessories that I have so far. I am working on getting some more things and I'll keep you guys updated when that happens. Hello from down here on the floor. The fourth thing that I wish I knew before buying a freeze dryer, and that I think other people would want to know, that there are currently two types of pumps available that help run your freeze dryer. The freeze dryer requires a vacuum pump to perform the freeze drying process. Mine that I have is the Premier oil pump. They also sell a oilless pump that is more expensive, but also more fancy because you don't have to worry about changing the oil, which I think is a definite perk if that's something that kind of intimidates you. I myself was not worried about the oil. We decided to save the money and to go with the standard, the Premier oil pump. And it has not been hard to deal with at all. I know we're only 3 months in, but I have had to change the oil twice already, and it is super easy. I actually have a video on how exactly to change your freeze dryer oil. I will link that video here if you are curious on what it looks like to change the oil. It is easy. So if you're trying to save some money, and I'm talking, I think about over $1,000, definitely you can handle the oil pump. If you're not worried about the extra price and worry more about convenience and ease of use, then I would go for the oilless pump. Choice is up to you. Both run the freeze dryer completely the same. It's just on if you want the maintenance of dealing with oil or if you don't want to. That's it. The fifth thing that people I think need to know before purchasing a freeze dryer is that there are multiple sizes of freeze drying machines. They start with small, medium, large, and they just came out with a new XL machine. Just so I can show you, I have the medium-sized freeze dryer. And this has been perfectly fine for my home use. I have a family of 5 people, 2 adults, 3 kiddos, and this has been fine for us. If I was someone who had a big family, wanted to get a huge load of food storage on my food storage shelves, I might want to go bigger. If you're someone who wants to purchase a freeze dryer to start a business selling your freeze-dried foods and candies, I would definitely recommend getting a larger freeze dryer. The large, or I would probably spring for the XL. It doesn't look like it takes up much more space than this. I mean, it's definitely bigger, but this holds 4 trays. The XL holds 6, and they're much wider than the trays that come with this machine. So if you're looking for starting a freeze drying business, I would go XL. If you're just a family trying to do this just for your own personal use, I would suggest the medium. I wouldn't want any smaller. I would say if I was maybe a single person doing this on my own just for my own personal use, I think the small would be fine, but you never know what you're going to want to use it for. I would go for the medium or larger. That's just my thought. Moving on to number 6. For number 6, I want to point out that this freeze dryer is a bit loud. It's not a quiet machine. I mean, if you think of the noise that maybe a washing machine makes, I would say it's similar. So if you were to buy a freeze dryer, I would want to make sure that I had a special room or area in my home where I could keep it. This just isn't something that I would want out like in my kitchen or in my dining or living space, because when it's running, it's usually running for a day or two at a time, and it just has this kind of loud humming sound that you can hear, and it would probably drive me crazy if I was hearing it all day long. Some people might not be bothered by noises, but me, not the biggest fan. So I have my freeze dryer in a spare room in our basement, and that works out perfectly for us. I can shut the door, it's downstairs, I don't even hear it. Some people keep theirs in their garage, and that totally works as long as you have a fairly mild climate, I would think. I don't know, I've never really looked into that. But that's an option for people, or if you have like a spare bedroom, even if it's not in a basement, that could be fine. It also does put off a fair amount of heat. Sometimes if I come in this room during the middle of a freeze drying run and I've had the door shut, it definitely feels warm in here. So it puts off heat. That's another thing to just be aware of, I guess. Noise, heat, yes, that was number 6. Moving on to number 7. The 7th thing that I would want to know before buying a freeze dryer is that it will have software updates that need to be performed on the machine. Now, this is a very simple thing to do, but something to be aware of. Because when I bought my machine, it was already out of date in the software and I needed to update it. I did film a video on how to update your freeze dryer. I will tag that video here if you're interested in how to do that. Very easy. You go to their website, download the software to your computer, download it to a thumb drive. Take your thumb drive, stick it in the machine. Right here on the side, there is a USB port. You put it in with your machine off, you turn your machine on, it magically loads the new software and updates your machine. It is easy. It is not something that I think should deter you from buying a freeze dryer. If you are not computer savvy, ask a friend to come do it for you. Ask a neighbor, ask a child, ask a brother or sister. It's not bad. You can do it, I swear. We have made it to number 8. A very important thing to know before buying a freeze dryer is the cost that you are looking at. I will be honest, these are expensive machines. It's not a purchase to just take lightly. I will let you know exactly what the current prices are on freeze dryers, so you can just have an idea. If this is something that is kind of sparking your interest that you might want to do, I will let you know what the current price is for the 4 different machines. Okay, I have just pulled up the Harvest Right website for a small freeze dryer, which is out of stock, but the price is $2,395. Medium, you are looking at $2,895. Large, you are looking at $3,595. And XL, which is available for pre-order, and it says it'll be ready in 4 to 6 weeks, $4,795. Those are the 4 prices, and that includes the Premier oil pump. The oil-free pump does show it's an additional $1,495. So there's all the information on the pricing of the freeze dryer. Whoop. The 9th thing to know before buying a freeze dryer is how to deal with Harvest Right customer service. It is not the easiest process where you can just pick up the phone if you have a question, call, and get an answer. They have it set up on their website to book an appointment with a customer service rep, and then they will call you at that time to talk about your issue. If your issue is not solved at the time of that call, you will have to book another appointment if you need to talk to somebody else and have issues like that. I have not had to contact Harvest Right for anything so far. I haven't had any issues with my machine. Granted, I've only had it 3 months, but it's at least been great for 3 months. Number 10. This is the best one. I want everyone to know before you buy a freeze dryer that it is fun and that it is easy. Fun and easy. As I mentioned before, I've owned my freeze dryer for 3 months. I am brand new to this, and I have just decided to jump right in and share my freeze drying journey along with anybody who wanted to watch, just to help educate people on if they think freeze drying is something they would want to do, and to just show you the foods that I do and exactly how I do it so that you could do it at home with your own freeze dryer. With that being said, there are still plenty of things that I don't know, plenty of mistakes that I am sure I'm going to make. I am grateful for all of you in my comments who point out the things that I maybe have done wrong and could correct. So I do appreciate feedback, as long as it's not mean. But thank you for those who have kindly pointed out some of my mistakes. Mistakes happen. I'm human. I'm learning along the way. But it's been fun to learn. It is so fun to be able to freeze dry. It really is as simple as preparing the food, sticking it on the trays, putting it in the freeze dryer, figuring out your settings, hitting start, and then you're done. Well, then you got to package it up, and then you're done. But it's such a great way to just have a little nest egg of food in your own home and delicious fresh food. When I was growing up and thinking about food storage, I just pictured these like powdered potatoes, powdered milk, old grimy pasta, rice, like emergency foods that you would eat if you had to, if you had nothing else. With this freeze dryer, we would have amazing, delicious, fresh foods to eat if we didn't have access to other foods at the grocery store. Living here in Alaska, there have definitely been times where food trucks can't get across Canada and up and over into Alaska to deliver the proper foods to stores, or shipments from boats can't make it in, and there have been times where there are certain foods that we just don't get access to. And being able to freeze dry foods when we do have access to them, keep them on the shelves, be able to use it whenever you need to, is such a blessing. And that is the main reason why I got into freeze drying. And now I've also been doing it for fun. I've been making candy. I've been selling it locally here in my community, and that's been really fun. I've been loving making these YouTube videos and sharing it all with you guys. So that was number 10, fun and easy. There's my top 10. If any of these 10 things sparked an interest in your mind to where you might want to dive in and get yourself a freeze dryer, I have an affiliate link with Harvest Right that I will leave in the description below this video. Click the link, it'll take you directly to their website and you can shop there. They do ship. I do earn a small commission for any sales that are made through my link. I appreciate any of you who decide to shop through my link. I am on my way to reaching my first 1,000 subscribers. When I do that, I'm going to do a big giveaway. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done that. And like this video, leave a comment if you have any questions about anything that I've talked about. I'm an open book, happy to answer any questions that you have about freeze drying or anything that you got. Leave them down in the comments below and I will answer them to the best that I can. I also have a great community here who are definitely freeze drying experts and they can help answer questions too. I am sure of it. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this was informative for you and I will see you on the next freeze drying adventure. Bye.